source of the cell.
Yes.
Okay? And gradually, as you get older, like any other furnace, it begins to get a little lazy. And the fuel doesn't get... So they're working, scientists are working right now on propping up the mitochondria. And exactly how, I don't know, because if I knew, I would tell them they wouldn't have to work so hard. So, there are things you can do that are coming up with mitochondria. I know this because a company called for me and said, would I like to join the company? And they're running experiments right now, very expensive experiments, using cellular knowledge, whatever that is, of the cells, and enhancing our mitochondria, which in the next 10 years will provide, they say, the ability to live a long time, 100, 120 years, whatever. If they can get to the mitochondria. I don't think I have 20 years. I think I have about a year. 2 years. Give, I got two, give me three. I got three. Okay. My time is more limited than you in your 44 years. But eventually, you will need mitochondria enhancement. And by that time, you're so lucky, they'll have it. I do nothing. I sit here and talk to people with your intelligence and find myself appalled. No. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for allowing me to make fun. Well, Muscles, what do you got?
Hi, Bill. I wanted to ask if you have any fond memories of Ricardo Montalbán from Space Seed, or if you would just like to sing some of the Rocket Man song.
So, I have a choice between singing Rocket Man and telling you some stories about Ricardo Montalbán.
Or both.
Let's see, what will I do? I'll talk to you about Ricardo Montalbán. How's that? Okay. First of all, you're not pronouncing his name correctly, okay? So I want you to say after me, Ricardo Montalbán.
Montalbán.
No, Montalbán.
Montalbán.
There you go. Now put it together. Ricardo Montalbán.
Ricardo.
No.
Sorry. Ricardo Montalbán.
No, don't you understand?
Trying.
You gotta say the name like he feels. Now, he had these enormous pecs, right? He was proud of his pecs.
Right.
So his name was Montalbán.
Ricardo Montalbán.
No, you're screaming, Montalbán. You gotta feel the power.
Feel.
Let me hear you feel the power.
Okay. Ricardo Montalbán on the stage.
Where did on the stage come?
I don't know.
No. That's a bad ad-lib, man.
I'm sorry.
Ricardo Montalbán, and you're not.
Ricardo Montalbán, and I'm not.
What do you do for a living? You don't act, right? You're not a performer.
Sometimes.
Where?
In my living room?
Yeah. Do you have little children?
They're not little anymore, Bill.
How old are they?
25 and 31.
Geez.
Yeah.
So they walk out of the room when you become a Ricardo Montalbán.
They don't like it when I sing either.
They don't hang around when you're performing in the living room.
Sometimes.
What times?
When I'm watching Kingdom of the Spiders and reciting some of the dialogue.
Sure, turn it on me. All right, Ricardo Montalbán was... Here's the story of Ricardo Montalbán. So I met him. He did, prior to doing the movies, he did a segment of the original show. And I met him there. And I thought, my God, That's Ricardo Montalbán. When I was young, like I was probably still in high school or maybe university, my parents and I went down to New York to see the shows. I lived in Montreal. Montreal is about 300 miles from New York City. And every so often, my family, my parents and I, and maybe my sister, would drive down to New York, stay a few days and see some shows. So one of the shows I saw had the word Jamaica in it. Jamaica, love, great Jamaica. And dancing in the show Jamaica was this handsome young Latin guy. And wow, what a good looking guy, and such a dancer. And he acted and he sang. Wow, what a multi-talent. A few years later, I see this guy on the screen playing Latin lovers, and the mustache, the thing, and the front, and it's the guy from Jamaica. What's that? Oh, Ricardo Montalbán. That's the guy's name. I kind of spotted him as a star. He had this quality. Okay, so that was my introduction. Years later, I'm on the set as playing the part of Captain Kirk, and on comes this guy that I had seen, and I don't know why I remember in this Jamaica holiday, whatever it was, and spotted him from time to time on the street, but I kind of thought I knew him. So here he comes. The universe is taking care of me once again. Hello, yes, what's your name, sir? My name is Ricardo Montalbán. How do you do? My name is William Shatner. We became buddies. He played in that segment. He was handsome and he was strong and he walked with authority because he was a dancer. Now, what, 8, 10 years later, we're making the movie, and he's been hired, and he comes on the set. And I said, we met, and he's walking with a cane. What happened? I fell off a horse. My name is Ricardo Montalbán, and I fell off a horse. So that's too bad. No, sure. And he tossed it off. When he comes up for the series, that was for the series. When he comes up for the movie, he's walking with a walker. So what happened is my hip didn't get any better. And as time went on, he went from the cane to the walker to the wheelchair to being unable to move. By the time the movie of whatever number that was, he got back into his wheelchair and he went to his home, which was a beautiful home, and I went to visit him frequently. We became buddies. And he worked out all the time, but not with his legs. But he worked with his upper body. And he had these incredible pectoral muscles. And then he died. And what he left behind was a theater called the Ricardo Montalbán Theater, devoted to Spanish American or Spanish Mexican theater. So they would do Spanish plays or hire Spanish-speaking talents, and this theater thrived for a long time, long after he was dead, the Ricardo Montalbán Theater. And that's my association with Ricardo Montalbán. Isn't that something? To see the man's life pass in front of you. I knew a guy, he built tennis courts in Santa Barbara, California, one of the rich communities of the United States. And I had saved some money and I bought some land in the hills, and there was nothing on the hill. And so somebody said, well, what do you want to do? I said, I'd like to build a home right here. There was a stream going by, wild stream, nobody up above it. And I'd like to build a home. They said, well, there's a guy who's retired from building tennis courts in Santa Barbara. He's living right in this place, in this town. And maybe he'd build a house. I go see him. And he's walking with a cane. How are you? I followed him. And we start talking about the house, and he starts building the house, and he builds a simple, beautiful wooden house on top of a rock with a wild river running by. Well, it's in our family and it's like a treasure. As he's building the house, and I'm in Los Angeles, and this place is 200 miles from Los Angeles. You have to drive up to see it, so it's an effort. So every 2-3 weeks, I'd go up to see how the building was going. And he was walking with a cane, and then he started walking with a walker, and then he was in a wheelchair, and he had MS. And one day he couldn't get out of bed. He was dying. Wow. And he was been a Green Beret. He was that kind of masculine guy, he was a soldier. One of the premier soldiers who was building my house. I thought it was blessed. And now I can't get out of bed. He had a special van made. So his wife, who was a willowy, beautiful teacher in the town, they got married. And she would lift him out of the bed, this very slim, beautiful lady, who over a period of a year that it took to build the house, muscled up. She became like a muscle builder from lifting her 200-pound